Okay, happy Wednesday. It is Wellness Wednesday with Akaloa Wellness. My name is Lauren Baptiste, and I am so excited to be with you today. So whether you're joining me on the live at Zoom, or maybe on Instagram Live, or maybe you're just joining on the replay from Facebook, wherever you're joining from, I'm so happy to have you here. Today's discussion is about the impact of stress and why you need to do something about it immediately. So I say, or ASAP, either one, but it is really important that you are taking the reins of your health and starting with your stress. So just to learn a little bit about stress, or just to get started, I would love for you just to say on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you? What is your stress level? 5 being really high, like I'm about to lose my mind, or maybe 1 and saying like, I feel really peaceful today. So feel free to use the chat function if you're joining me on the live to let me know how your stress is, whether it's today or over the past few months. It really helps to know how I could be of most service to you. And so while you're sharing that, I'd love to share a little bit about myself. So if we haven't met, my name is Lauren Baptiste, and I'm an executive wellness coach and the founder of Akaloa Wellness. My company, Akaloa Wellness, empowers and equips ambitious, committed, soulful women with the tools, the techniques, and the mindset shifts to be successful in today's world. And so with Akaloa Wellness, we teach you how to live in harmony. So so you understand my background, I bring over 10 years of experience working in the corporate environment. So I know what stress is because I've lived it, but I also have background and learned it in the ancient science of Ayurveda, yoga, Reiki, holistic nutrition, and much more. So I have used what I've learned and my experience to help employees, to help individuals, to help women, whoever's listening to this, feel their best. So let's do it. So we're going to talk today about why we need to get rid of our stress immediately. So I am looking and I see a couple chats. So let's see. Yeah, so we're seeing anywhere from kind of like the mid to upper 3, 4.5, a little bit higher. And that's okay, you know, so somewhere 3 is average. The reality is we have stress all of the time. And so if you joined in on last week's session, we talked about the 3 steps to break through stress. And so this is stress month. And so we're starting with stress is that I believe, and through Akaloa, we believe that stress is a lot of the root cause of why we're feeling so crappy, right? Why our bodies feel tired and low energy, and why we don't feel ourselves, and why we're always seeking to feel better, because stress is really high and we need to do something about it. So for some of you that are even saying, and I'm getting higher messages that it's even higher, take a deep breath. Know that even in these little mini classes, there's going to be something for you to learn and to gain from just by listening, just by hearing. So I'm so happy that even if you're feeling really high stress, that you've joined. So let's get into it, because I think that is what we're all here for. We want to know, what is stress really doing to me, and why do I need to get over it immediately? Now, if you were joining last week, we talked about briefly that stress is a trigger, or is a response to a trigger. So there's always something happening, and the way we react is a stressor. So some stressors are positive and some are negative. And so we can compare a stressor like a work email, that could be a stressor, to planning for a wedding or a shower or something that, even though it's positive, it can still create stress. And so if you've ever even seen bridezillas go crazy, it's because their stress is now getting from a place of happy stress to overwhelm. And so if we're keeping it in the frame of work, one thing that's really important to think about is that 80% of workers are feeling stress on the job. And I think we could say, yeah, duh, that's obvious. But some other statistics that I thought were really interesting is that 65% of Americans are feeling anxious or irritable at work. And that work stress is as bad as high cholesterol or smoking. It's as bad to the heart as smoking. How crazy is that? And then one that we're going to dive into fairly quickly is really the impact of what stress is doing to you. So 75 to 90% of all visits to the doctor are for stress-related health concerns. Take that in for just a minute. 75 to 90% of all visits to the doctor are for stress. So if you're someone that works in HR, then listen up, because this is really important. You're spending so much money and you're losing the best of your employees because they're overwhelmed. And if you are that employee sitting there saying, I am really stressed out, I'm not my best self, I'm not giving my best work, that's why it's so important to start to take care of your stress. One thing I would love for you to think about is your body. And we'll talk about the mind and the soul, whether it's today or in other sessions. But what's really important when we're thinking about ourselves and our body is how it reacts to stress. Now, very often when I work with clients, prospective clients, anyone I come into contact with, after they hear me speak at a session, and if I go into hormonal health, they'll say, yeah, I've been in pain, I've been experiencing maybe irregular menstrual cycles, I've been experiencing just a lot of migraines, low energy. And so I just want to start with your body. So we have this, I put together this entire list that I'm just going to share. And if you are feeling any of these, whether it's today, whether it's recently, I would love for you to tell me in the chat function of what you've experienced, or if you are working through this experience of stress. So if you have a regular appetite, that could be an effect of stress. If you're suffering from either very low or high body weight, that could be an impact of stress. Lower back pain, nerve pain, joint pain, constipation, gas, bloating, irritable bowels, dry skin or chapped skin, irregular short or long menstrual cycles, painful cramps, low libido, headaches, exhaustion, twitches, insomnia, loneliness, nervousness, forgetfulness, spaciness, scatteredness, difficulty tolerating loud noises, or even excess worrying. Can you resonate with any of those? Could resonate with like 10, right? When I was in the thick of my stress, I could check the box for a lot of those all at the same time, because I was overwhelmed and I wasn't aware of that I could even take care of this without popping a pill, putting on a cream, doing something to treat the cause and the symptom, as opposed to getting to the root cause. So let me know, have you experienced any of these? Are you feeling the impact of stress on your physical body? And so this is what's really important, because a lot of times when I speak to individuals, they'll say, well, they're unrelated, right? What I'm feeling in my body has nothing to do with my stress that's in my mind. And in the science of Ayurveda, that's just not true. So in Ayurveda, if you've never heard of it before, it's a 5,000-year-old science that's rooted in evidence and a long period of time of history and understanding. But the idea of the science is telling us that the components of health aren't just how my body feels. It's 4 things. It's the body, the mind, the soul, which could be your purpose or your connection, but also this 4th component, which we never talk about in Western medicine, which is your senses. Your senses, your sight, your hearing, your sound, your smell, the 5 senses, right? Touch. Those 5 senses, if they're abused, can create poor health. So I'm seeing even from those that are joining that they're talking about different types of effects that are bothering them. So back pain, insomnia, dry skin, loud noises sometimes. Yeah, and for sure. And this is only the bucket of, this is a small bucket, I should even say, of diseases or things that are coming that the body are feeling because the senses are being abused and the body isn't feeling great. And because of our stress, we're getting aggravated, and this aggravation is just creating further from dis-ease of like, my body doesn't feel good, to actual disease. So the issue with Western medicine, and it's so great for so many things, but what can be really challenging is that if I'm dealing with constipation for months and months and months, it could actually lead to something with your bowels. It can lead to a problem with your large intestine. It can lead to other issues like bad breath, which I just posted on my Instagram. There are so many things that happen just because of constipation, and that's just taking one of them. There are so many reasons why we might not be feeling good. And so we always think, okay, well, let me just come back to that same, let me take a pill for that one thing. And I want you to see if you can start to realize and be conscious of what's going on in your life and the effect of stress on your body and on your mind. How does that sound? When I usually speak with new folks who have never heard this before, it can be a little bit intimidating, maybe a little overwhelming, but also enlightening and surprising and a little reassuring. Because when I'm working with clients, the idea is that if you take care of your whole self, as opposed to one symptom or another, the truth is you can actually start to feel better. And so this is where it all begins. And we're taking this week by week every Wednesday, and we're just going to be dropping little nuggets every week. But the idea is so that you can start to understand health for you and how to understand your stress and how to take it from a 4.8 and take it down to a 3.6, or take it down to a 2.5, or take it down to whatever feels better, but making progress in your own life. How does that sound? Right? The reality is I can't go from 5 to 1 overnight. The reality is that if I start to incorporate small things into my life, I can reduce my stress. And you know what? If I go from a 5 to a 3.5, that's pretty good, I'd say. And so we're working with reality. We're not working in a dream state or something that's just going to happen overnight. It's starting to invite these small shifts that are going to help us feel better. So this is what we're talking about. So last week we went through some survival strategies of what we can do and how we're going to go about it, but now really starting to understand the effect of stress. So while we're living in stress month, for some of us who are working in our busy seasons, this can be the most stressful time of the entire year. So it's critical that you learn how to manage your stress, because if you don't manage it, you'll be managing an illness. You'll be managing a dis-ease in the body. And so this is my invitation for you to stop waiting for it to just fall on your lap. Stop taking just that one pill or that cream or that goop. Like, start to take responsibility for your health, because this is urgent. When I speak to clients, they say, my health is the most important thing in my life. But then when you compare it to what they're doing in their day-to-day, it doesn't reflect. So this is an opportunity and an invitation to take your wellness to the next level, to start feeling better in your life. How does that sound? Let me know, message it, share your favorite emoji. Like, seriously, how does that sound? If you could start to reduce your stress, if you are having insomnia, what if you could sleep better? Then your energy might be better. Then you might show up to your job better, show up to your partner better, show up into every facet of your life just by getting and overcoming your stress. That sounds pretty good to me. So this is it. So this is these really small bite-sized things to start to think about. And every week we're going to layer on, and whether you've been listening week over week or whether you're just joining for a one-off, there's something to learn. The science of Ayurveda goes so incredibly deep, and there's so much we can learn from it. And so for me, it's my passion to give it to you in a way that feels relatable and easy. So my homework or my challenge for you this week is to start to notice that when you're stressed, how is it affecting you? Is it affecting your body? Is it affecting your mind? Is it affecting your ability to do the things that you love to do? So that's the challenge. So I would love to hear from you. So whether you're listening on a replay or a live, let me know how this sits with you. Let me know what you're thinking. I would also, if you have any questions and you're listening on the live, I'm happy to take any questions, because it's so important that we're talking about this, especially for women. We do everything on our own. We, even think about how we go to the bathroom compared to guys, right? We close the door, we're sitting in a room by ourselves. And a lot of times it's nice to have that privacy or that intimacy, but what we're not doing is talking about it. And if we're not talking about what's going on, how our menstrual cycles are showing up, what we're feeling in our body, then we're just showing up as a half person, not as our fullness. We're not showing up to our jobs in the best capacity. We're not showing up to our friends, our kids, and the list goes on and on. And so it's so important, I urge you, just to take this moment to start to think about when you're most stressed. So I'd say if you're over 4, for sure, a 4 out of 5. If you're over 4 on your stress scale, start to notice what happens in your body. Do you feel tension? Does your heart get tight? Do you get nervous or worry? Do you start to create anxiety or fear in the mind? This is the homework this week. And so just this little bit can start to open your eyes, your heart, your health to feeling great. Well, there it is. That's Wellness Wednesday. So I will be doing this every single week. I'll be showing up for you at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, 12 p.m., 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'll be doing this every week. And the purpose is so that I can help you with wherever you are in your life to empower you and support you as you make this transition to well-being. And so if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on every channel, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on you name it, I'm there. But feel free to contact me directly. So I'm giving you my private email so that if you have any questions, reach out to me. My email is Lauren, Lauren, at achelowawellness.com, ACHELOA wellness spelled out.com. So that is it. That is this episode or this week's episode of Wellness Wednesday and the effects of your stress. So I hope that this sparks something in your mind and your heart to better your every single day. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you next week. Take care. Thanks, ladies.